Now we're at the step where we're going to be positioning your shock mount. Now you're going to need your shock absorber to do that. Now, it might be a good idea to change your shock absorber while you're at it. In this case, this one's still good, so we're going to keep using it.
To position the bracket, the shock absorber must be placed temporarily on the lower mount behind the wheel. It is not necessary to tighten the bolt immediately, since this is used just for positioning. The position of the bracket is determined using the point of contact between the shock absorber and the control arm. Pull the shock absorber in the direction of the front of the car until the shock absorber hits the control arm of the wheel. Take notice of where the point of contact is. Place the bracket so that the upper end of the shock absorber points out towards the mounting hole. The bracket must sit completely flat on the frame. The lower edge of the bracket must be parallel to the frame and flush with the lower face of the frame as well. Again, double check that the bracket sits flat on the side of the frame. The bracket being seated flat will ensure that the shock absorber is at an appropriate distance from the frame. Mark the sides of the bracket with a marker once the bracket is well positioned. Then remove the shock absorber to mark the holes to be drilled in the frame. Be as precise as possible when marking these holes. Start to drill only one of the two holes very slowly with a pilot drill bit smaller than the half-inch holes. For example, use a 1/4-inch drill bit. You may even start with a 1/8 inch drill bit if you have one for more accurate positioning. Carefully drill in the very center, and only once the pilot hole is completely drilled through, you can increase the drill bit size up to the 1/2 inch to complete the final mounting holes. Bolt through to the other side of the frame using the 1/2 inch bit. Now place the bracket in position using the one bolt and use the other bolting hole of the bracket to guide your 1/2 inch bit and mark the center of the hole using the tip of the bit. Once the center of the second hole is marked, slowly drill it through using the pilot drill bit. By doing it this way, you'll get the holes perfectly positioned for the appropriate distance from each other. Once the pilot hole is drilled, you can go through it with the 1/2 inch bit. Put the two bolts in place with the washers on and tighten everything appropriately. Since we're doing the same procedure on the driver's side, put the shock absorber on temporarily on the lower mount and push it forward until it hits the control arm. Then we place the bracket flat on the frame and we center the tip of the shock absorber with the mounting hole on the bracket. Once that is done, we mark the position of the bracket, side, and holes. We carefully drill the smaller pilot holes first and then the 1/2 inch holes after. On the driver's side, be careful not to damage the brake line that passes behind the frame while you drill the holes. You don't need to remove the brake line to drill or bolt, just keep in mind and work with care in the area. Finally, bolt everything in place and we're ready to seal all openings in the wheel well in step 5.